there, it's Kevin with RogueDeckBuilder.com here with this episode of, drumroll please, the Rogues Alley. The Rogues Alley is now back to RogueDeckBuilder.com, and if you do like the Rogues Alley and want to see this be more of a consistent project, I am going to be adding a Patreon tier over at www.patreon.com/RogueDeckBuilder for the Rogues Alley. And it'll probably be, I don't know, we'll figure out the tier for it and give back some rewards. Maybe some signed cards or something from signed cards. All the controversy around signed cards from decks that I actually do play. Can't do like a lottery-based system. That would be a fun idea to fund this particular video series of giving out the deck after I play it. But with Patreon's rules, that's not a thing. So anyway, we'll figure it out. We'll figure a way to give back with the Patreon. But I want to start doing the weekly Rogues Alley again, possibly even playing on a budget again over here at Rogue Deck Builder. It used to be over at Gathering Magic, and we were let go in November, and the very last deck that I played was the Marionette Master Combo deck. So this was the Marionette Master, which is a 6-mana 1/3 with Fabricate 3, and when an artifact you control is put into the graveyard from the battlefield, target opponent loses life equal to Marionette Master's power. So it gives you a couple of options: putting counters, making it a 4/6, or a 1/3 with 3 servos. In this particular deck, it is going to get reanimated from God Pharaoh's Gift. So the combo is you reanimate the God Pharaoh's Gift on the Marionette Master. The Marionette Master comes in as a 4/4 because God Pharaoh's Gift overrides the power and toughness that naturally is on a card, and then you will get the 4/4 with 3 servos. And what you need to have is a Metalwork Colossus in the graveyard. If Metalwork Colossus is in the graveyard, you can hold priority, sacrifice all 3 servos, and sacrifice the God Pharaoh's Gift to do 16 points of damage to the face. If your opponent is tapped out, you attack him with Marionette Master and win the game. Or if you just get your opponent down to 16 points of damage naturally, then it is just a kill. So I have always been a fan over this deck over other God Pharaoh's Gift decks. We've seen some Goblin God Pharaoh's Gift decks, some Combat Celebrant, some Angel of Invention with God Pharaoh's Gift, and this has been my favorite one just because you can win out of nowhere. Admittedly, once people do realize how this deck plays, they can play around it. There was a match that I just played, though, where my opponent tapped out with a Hazard Red, and then I dropped my 5th land, dropped the Gate to the Afterlife, comboed off 1. That happens all of the time versus especially red decks. They don't just pay attention or just don't know the combo, and you sneak out a lot of free wins that way that you maybe shouldn't have won. But the whole thing about load I like about the God Pharaoh's Gift is it just allows or just produces so much value that you end up usually grinding out games if this even is out for a couple of turns. So the deck hasn't changed much. The only thing different from when I used to play this way back, I think that so I think it was Ixalan was out, I think, when I last... Yes, Ixalan was out. I don't think Rivals of Ixalan was quite out when I last played this deck. So the only thing that really has upgraded this deck is Skittering Surveyor. I think Skittering Surveyor is exactly what this deck wants, as it gives you a artifact creature out as well as gets a land, so it helps you hit that 4th, 5th land drop for the Gate to the Afterlife, and is another target that can be hit with the Trophy Mage. So just preferences. With that slot, there are other cards you can run instead of Skittering Surveyor. I had Hope of Garroper. There's some advantages for Hope of Garroper, and the few other cards you could have in the slot. One of the advantages for Hope of Garroper is it is a 1/1 flyer for 1, and it can allow you to have a sack outlet. If it attacks you and deals combat damage, you can sacrifice it. So again, that could be a way you could get for the last point of damage, or 4 points of damage if you have the combo, so you have one of these out. Then you can attack in and sacrifice it. And I think you have to target a player who has dealt damage. So yeah, I think you do have to have a legit target to even sacrifice this. The other thing about this creature is it is a legendary, and so you can cast multiples, and it will kill one of them to A, get a creature in your graveyard to get up to that 6 creature count for the Gate to the Afterlife, and B, it can trigger the Gate to the Afterlife if you already have it out to then loot. So I used to like the Hope of Garroper. However, I don't have it in at the moment, as I just don't think there is enough room for it, and it is kind of liability with Chain Whirler at the moment. What I like about this deck, there isn't a lot of liabilities except for Champion of Wits is the only card that dies to Chain Whirler. So we have a couple 1/3s and 1/2s, and they're surprisingly good versus red decks. So let's just go down the exact deck tech of this deck. The first one is the Minister of Inquiries. This is a 1 mana for a 1/2, and it enters battle to get 2 energy, and you can pay an energy to have target player put 3 cards of their library into their graveyard. So you're going to be doing this to yourself. I have won games, though, by milling out my opponents. The Teferi decks or the approach decks, sometimes they have a really grindy win condition, and if you mill their approach or their Teferis, or if they try to do the whole put the Teferi back on so I can't mill myself, you actually can mill them with the Minister of Inquiries. Again, I have won matchups like that before. Used to actually win quite a few matchups when I did have the Ipnu Rivulet in here. Unfortunately, I think that red is way too hostile right now for playing Ipnu Rivulet. This is a card that you can put to the top 4 cards of either your library or your opponent's library into the graveyard for 2 and tap and sack a desert. Again, when the meta is a lot slower, more mid-range decks, this is definitely something that can come in. However, right now you can't be affording to pay life versus red. By the time you win versus red, a lot of times you're down to very, very low life totals. So this just becomes a liability if you don't have like an island you can start tapping for the blue. We aren't very heavy on our mana to begin with, so that's why you can sneak in Ipnu Rivulets. However, again, with red being the #1 deck, I think it's too much of a liability, and the Drowned Catacomb is a card that we want to come into play untapped as much as possible, and unfortunately, it doesn't work off the Aether Hub. So if we put in either 2 or 3 or 4 of the Ipnu Rivulets, then it dumbs down the amount of islands, and then it makes the Drowned Catacomb a lot more of a clunky and awkward card. All right, so speaking of the Aether Hub, it does have the pairing with the Minister of Inquiries to add another energy, so keep that in mind. They work off each other. The Chart of Course is a pretty good option in this deck at the moment. It's a lot better when you do run the Hope of Girper. However, it's still really good for looting. What I like about the Chart of Course is it absolutely allows you to get a specific card in your graveyard, so that's what's going to give the advantage over strategic planning. Yeah, strategic planning does get more cards in the graveyard, but Chart of Course gives a specific one. And Chart of Course doesn't have to discard. If you attack with the Minister of Inquiries because you like your hand, you can just use Chart of Course and not ditch anything. And there will be a lot of games where that's actually the play. You have a lot of, like, say, Walking Ballistas and lands in your deck, for example. None of those you want to loot. And then you can then just cast your Gates of Afterlife and then this cast your Walking Ballistas for a loot. So Chart is better than Strategic. That's why we're running a 4 versus 2. Strategic is nice, though, if you can find those Marionette Masters and Metalwork Colossuses off the top of your library and ditch them into your graveyard. So Gluttonous Crane is another option for this deck. There are other ways to go with this. I've had Seeker of, it's the Ixalan, 1/2 with Explore. But again, we're very low on black, so Gluttonous Crane is just better. I like Gluttonous Crane because it can block a lot of creatures right now in this meta. It used to be a lot more efficient versus, it's still good versus like Earthshaker Kenras. It can block any 2/2s. Soulscar Mages are a lot easier to block with the Gluttonous Crane. Again, it's got that nice toughness that it doesn't die to a shock, or a magma spray. It has to die to a lightning strike or an abrade, and you'll be surprised at how bad red players are. They will end up abrading this Gluttonous Crane quite a bit, and that just eats a free removal spell, and hopefully will find you a card off the top of your library. We have exactly the statistically probable for Gluttonous Crane. It looks at the top 4, and 1/4 of our deck is artifacts, so you're going to hit more than likely, on average, you're going to hit a card off the Gluttonous Crane. And a 1/3 flyer can chump block like a Lyra or a Heart of Kiran, so that's another reason why I like Gluttonous Crane in this deck. Champion Wits is the best card in this deck. It's a 2/1 for 3 mana with Eternal Eyes of 7. When it enters battlefield, you draw cards equal to its power, then discard 2 cards. So the first time you cast it, you're going to draw 2, discard 2, and then when you Eternalize it, you're going to draw 4, discard 2. This is going to be your if you don't have a Marionette Master out, this is going to be your way to dig for it with your God Pharaoh's Gift. Go through 4 cards to try to find Marionette Master. Very, very solid card. It is the reason to run blue at the moment. I'm thinking about this deck might be able to go heavier black with M19 coming out with the loot 3 or mill 3, a 1-drop that's coming out. But until then, blue is the way to go. Trophy Mage, another option. This isn't necessary, but I like Trophy Mage as it can go find your Gate to the Afterlife or your Skittering Surveyor if you need another one. So it's just 3 mana, go get a converted mana cost 3 artifact. That's what Gate to the Afterlife's in here for. This is the kind of the focal point of the deck, because it's going to go get your God Pharaoh's Gift, as well as allow you to stabilize 3 mana, 4 an artifact. Whenever a non-token creature you control dies, you gain a life, and then you can draw a card, discard a card. And then when you have 6 cards in your graveyard, you can, or 6 creatures in your graveyard, you can sacrifice it to go get a God Pharaoh's Gift. This is kind of cool too. Extra Gate to the Afterlife can actually be cracked off of Marionette Masters. There have been games where I've just had a hard cast Marionette Masters and then use gates to crack to end up winning the game. Skidding Surveyor I've got as a whopping 4 of. This is another, it's not a necessary card for this deck, but we are running very low land counts, and this also thins. A lot of the games you lose with this combo deck is when just the statistics aren't in your favor, like you're getting way too many lands, or just not enough cards to work with the champions to throw in the graveyard and whatnot. Skittering Surveyor is perfect with the draw ability, specifically a land. A lot of times that's what you're searching for on turn 3, is that 4th or 5th land, because we do want to hit 5 lands. We do want to have a Gate to the Afterlife that then can tap the turn it comes into play. We don't want to Gate to the Afterlife to come down to get like Thrashing Brontodon or a Braided before we can actually get any value out of it. Speaking of which, you do need to learn how to pilot this deck correctly to play around cards like Cast Out, a Braid, Thrashing Brontodon. If they have the mana open, a lot of times it's not the right call to go for your combo. I just won a game versus green-white because I know for a fact they're leaving up Cast Outs in their waiting for me to crack, and I just never did, and they just ended up passing turn, playing like a 2-drop, playing a 3-drop, playing a 4-drop, and being so far behind because they were keeping up 4 mana every turn and not casting their bombs, like maybe a Lyra is in their hand or a Verter Scare Hulk or something like that, and I just end up beating them down with Walking Ballistas that just I was able to just keep dumping my mana into them, and keep your 4 mana up, I'll just keep pumping it up. And anyway, that was a fun little game. And of course, God Pharaoh's Gift, we've talked about that. Metalwork Colossus, and Walking Ballista is this probably I would consider, the second best card in this deck because it has just so many synergies. It can kill off early Beaumont Couriers and Earthshaker Kenras and Llanowar Elves and Glint-Sleeve Siphoners, and it's also can be a win condition if you go really, really late. It is a mana dump to put into this. But what I really like about this is the ability to cast this for 0 to trigger off both the Gate to the Afterlife and the Marionette Master. So a lot of times you'll get the Marionette Master out with the God Pharaoh's Gift, and he can't quite pump through that last bit of damage. You just cast a Walking Ballista for 0, and it does another 4 damage. I've been able also to hard cast Marionette Masters and win off just a bunch of Walking Ballistas at that point. Anyway, that's kind of the gist of the deck. We're just going to run 10 and 3, and then it's just 21 lands total, 4, 4, 3, 10. And that gives us a nice little spread. The sideboard, this is very, very different based upon the meta. Right now, I've got the Filigree Familiars that I'll bring in versus the aggro decks because this gains 2 life and draw cards, usually what you need versus that deck. A 1 of Treasure Map and a 1 of Search for Azcanta for the control matchups, as these allow me to, this is going to be a 3-for-1, which can also create some treasures that can be sacked towards the Marionette Master. However, that rarely ever happens. 2 negates, again, that's all you really want because you don't want to dumb down your creature count. You can't be putting a lot of non-creatures. I've had like a Lost Legacy in here before and a Dispossess, depending on if decks are at their top at the moment. Right now, I don't have a Lost Legacy. It's okay versus like Tezzeret. A lot of them have like more than 1 win condition at the moment, so I just don't like Lost Legacy. Lost Legacy was really in here when Scarab God was big. Speaking of Scarab God, we do have a 1 of Scarab God as an alternate win condition if we need it versus certain decks. And then we are going to play a couple control cards in the realm of Vraska's Contempt and Hostage Taker. Usually I would say that you'd want to run 4 Vraska's Contempt, but we're really low on black mana. And I have to keep emphasizing this. You cannot go really low in your creature count. You want to keep that as high as possible. And if you're putting in like too many Vraska's Contempts, you're going to run into the scenarios where you have like 4 or 5 creatures in your graveyard and can't crack that gate. So Hostage Taker is like our honorary Vraska's Contempt. And the good thing about that is then we can cast it against our opponent. If we take a card. And you can actually get some juicy targets with Hostage Taker. Last but not least is the other control card, Karn, Sign of Urza. I think this one's okay to be putting in this deck because it digs for your combo pieces, as well as you can just put a 0/0 Colorless Construct artifact token that does have some synergy with Marionette Master. You cast a Marionette Master, you negative to this. It's now a 4/4. You can do another one. They're both 5/5s. Not a bad little card. Has won a lot of games versus control. So that is my long deck tech. We are going to get into some games here. I'm going to go ahead and queue this up in a competitive. Let's do a competitive and queue it up with the Marionette combo. Now, the last 2 competitives I've done, I have gone to this 5 with a good old Marionette Master. We've had one of them. I went up against a lot of green decks, and that's usually where you want to be if they're not, especially if they're not running Thrashing Brontodon. It seems like I kept queuing up versus various green builds and some control decks that just weren't really tuned, and then they're just good matches for the control, like Espers and things like that. So anyway, this is a very keepable hand. The second league, by the way, is all red, and this deck does very well against red decks. So this is a very keepable hand. We have the mana for the Gate to the Afterlife. We have Walking Blisses to do the YOLO cast for 0 loot. And so we'll start off here with an island, and none of our lands come into play tapped either. Best case scenario, my opponent goes Glint, Sleeve, Fafnir, go. Just a submerged. Okay, that was not a good draw. So we're going to go Glint Nest Crane. And Scarab God decks can be frustrating to play against. Vraska's Contempt, of course, has to come in versus those. So we do have an out. All right, so this is awesome because we get to have the Gate to the Afterlife out this turn. And attack in. And yeah, we're set up pretty good here. Like, I'm going to cast a Walking Ballista if I don't have a land. In fact, we'll loot both the Walking Ballistas to try to hit that 4th land drop, even though it's not necessary. I was going to say we can go Gate to the Afterlife, but I don't think that's possible. Could we hit a land drop, throw it out? Oh, now we can. Okay. There is, like, Disallow we have to worry about. Do I give it one more turn and wait for my opponent to tap out? I'm going to cast one of these Walking Ballistas. Because there is, like, Disallow, which is a pain, and I'll lose, like, my entire hand if I want to go for it here. All right, perfect. We found it, so I'm not going to cast any more this turn. I think what I'm going to do is just cast a Ministry of Inquiries and a Walking Ballista. And that'll give us some nice little aggro. A lot of times these control decks, what they end up doing is they're like, okay, I'm just going to... This isn't worth counting. This isn't worth countering. I'm just going to pass the turn, pass the turn, pass the turn, and pretty soon, beat them down with a bunch of 1/1s, and those 1/1s actually add up. And again, we can get them down to that sweet spot of 16. That is always nice, because then they are at the mercy of the Marionette Master combo. There is a Marionette Master, speak of the devil. So, I still, Disallow is such a... Huh. I think... I'm just going to attack with everything, rather than even go with the... I'm going to force my opponent to do something here. They're down to a 14. Didn't cast anything. Okay, Glimmer of Genius comes out here. So this is a Torrential Gearhulk Scarab God deck, which is a little bit rough. So I'm glad that we have 4 damage again. I Disallow 100% is in this deck. I'd love to see, like, Scarab God here, because I think we can mill enough, depending, and then just win the game. So that's my hope that comes down. Okay, so what I'm doing here is I want loots. So my opponent didn't want to discard a card. We get... I think I'm going to win here. Well, we still need Metalwork Colossus. Because we have 6. We'll have the other creature. Yep. So, cast this for 0. Ingrish, confirm. We'll confirm the English, and we did not find it. I think still I'm going to throw away the island. Whoops, kind of did that wrong. Hopefully that doesn't end up messing me up. I have plenty of energy here. And unfortunately, we did have to do a Marionette Master. I think servos are still better, rather than getting in there for a ton of damage. Throw the last island. I do want the 5. We might die to, like, if Vraska's Contempt was taken care of, Trenchell's Gearhook, Vraska's Contempt is what my opponent has in hand. Unfortunately, we have another island. So I'm going to mill myself to see if I can just win here. And that was a terrible mill. So we're going to go to combat. Yeah, that was pretty bad. Walking Ballista coming back does not... Oh. Create 3 servos. Leave these 2 back, because it's most likely going to be a Trenchell Gearhook Vraska's Contempt, which we will play around. And I'll keep this island in hand, because if we do draw a champion, I think it's a target we can loot. Weird. Okay. Alright. Alright, so it didn't... Yeah, my opponent... Yeah, of course he didn't want to block, because it would have done more. Feel very far ahead, though. I think the right play is going to be mill ourselves and hopefully find another card. Champion Witch is not very good here. Okay, so this actually doesn't seem... You know, this could just be the stock list of UB with 2 Trenchell Gearhulks. A lot of those don't use the Glimmers, though. I think this is heavier on the Trenchell Gearhulks. So it's so funny how we went like full circle with... I guess standard meta is self-regulating to a point. That we've gone back to these. These existed the very, very first of last year's rotation. When... Alright, we hit another land, which was awful odds, because we are out of lands. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. And hit more garbage. So, let's see. My opponent decides they can't do enough here. Alright. Because we get back a flyer at that point. Did I have a 1-3 flyer in here? Alright, so I think Vraska's Contempt absolutely have to come in. And at this point, you like Search for Azcanta against this match. Same thing with Treasure Map. I tend to like Treasure Map in this matchup. Hostage Taker. Karn. It gets kind of messy to bring in all this stuff, but this is where we can like take out Glint Sleeves, take out Skittering Surveyors. I could bring in a Scarab God of my own, and then I think it's just a liability for Vraska's Contempt. My opponent does have some juicy targets to put in from Scarab God, like opposing Champion of Wits, but I don't think that's where we want to be. Negate is also a decent little card to bring in, I think. We don't need the rest of these particular cards. So the cards that can come out, I just think just 2 strategic plannings, because I'm pretty good at digging on my own. Like Metalwork Colossus, I could definitely take out like a Metalwork Colossus and a Marionette Master and go down in the combo. And then put back in the strategic plannings to really, I think that's actually where we want to be. I take those out sometimes. We are lower on our creature count for sure. But this is all about taking care of our opponent's Scarab God, I think. Okay, that's fine. So we do need to get the jump on our opponent. I'd love to see like a first turn. Minister of Inquiries. This also is a pretty fun deck to queue up in the constructed, just the quick constructed, as there are a lot of red decks. Red deck galore, and tend to be pretty bad players too. Just tends, like, I don't know. To me, to master red, it seems like it takes a bigger technical level. And a lot of newer players like to get into red because they think it's like self-explanatory. All you do is just swing your cards sideways. However, red decks, you have to maximize your damage output. And you have to be a good player to be able to do that. And there are some, like I said, some terrible players that end up abrading glint nest cranes, for example. Search for Ascanta, huh? I think I'm going to get Walking Blist out. Might not be the right call. Turn 2 search was rough. Would have been nice. We had a turn 2 search as well. Submerged Boneyard goes to the bin. So it must be land flooded. Alright, so we get a Drowned Catacomb. Start getting it for some damage. See if this is countered. My divination. Knowing my hand, this is definitely a card that should be countered. But my opponent is worried about combo pieces to counter later on. So I think my opponent's just going to let it go. Okay, does not let it go. Does decide to Supreme Will it, which is good because I think my opponent would have used any other counterspell over that. So this is the heavier. This got to be the heavier Torrential Gearhulk. Another land in the bin. So getting good draws off the search for Ascanta. All right. We'll chart a course again. Well, that one worked. We'll do it again. Draw on those chart of courses. We are really, really digging, though, for creatures and... We do have the double negate. Negate's kind of awkward at the moment, though. Syncopate. That's perfectly acceptable to be syncopated. Okay, so still not going to flip yet. My opponent is going to opt to throw another one in the bin. See if another land gets thrown away. Opt is weird, though, because the opt... Yeah, I don't know where. I want them to tell us, like, we need, like, a log screen that we can pull up. That's my biggest beef with Arena at the moment, is a log screen to see where things were put or things that happened. As I don't know exactly where they opt scry. All right, so there is 3. No Scarab God. Whew. We're hitting land drops too, which is nice against this particular deck. Unfortunately, all we have is a Minister of Inquiries and a Walking Ballista that we can utilize. We'll negate the Glimmer. Don't want my opponent going through more cards. We're winning the card advantage war at the moment. However, this search is probably flipping. And we don't have a good way, Field of Ruin, to really deal with it. And we kind of have a weird hand. Dug, and didn't really... Well, two of them got countered. Did not flip, so my opponent absolutely wanted that card. Must be the Scarab. Scarab God is rough. Haven't found a Vraska's Contempt. Or a hostage take. Hostage taken. And speak of the devil. Hi, devil. Now I definitely don't want to mill anyone with the ministers. Womp womp. So, we need Vraska's Contempt. And the good news is we have Vraska's Contempt into negate. So we can take care of the Scarab God. Unfortunately, opponent's going to actually get rid of Vraska's Contempt. Must mean a Torrential Gearhulk is in hand. Yeah, we don't have any, they don't have any, so Scarab God's really not doing anything here. Got some blockers. Duress is rough. Gets rid of a negate. There's a gate to the Afterlife. Might as well throw it out. And I think that there's no way we can mill ourselves enough. Got to get it one more turn. Ugh. Because I don't want to give Scarab God any sort of power to reanimate. Yeah, that search is going to be extremely rough for me to deal with. Gets a Karn. Now, Karn is interesting. Because when my opponent plays Karn, we can go for a crack. No Karn. That's an interesting play. I think we're going to do it. Can't cast the Scarab God, but it's gonna take like a Torrential Gearhulk Vraska's Contempt, which is interesting because then we could possibly kill the Minister of Inquiries and Walking Ballista Loot. Nah, we're still way far away from that. So I think really that... Okay, so we'll take Scarab God. Walking Ballista. I don't think I do. I have to play around. The Torrential. This will get a Vraska's Contempt, though. Sure. Yeah, probably shouldn't have attacked it all there. Attacked one of them. this Azcan to the Sunken Ruin is going to be a problem. Interesting attack. Yeah, we can take it. All right, here's our opening for Karn.
Evil must not be tolerated. Good choice.
Give us Submerged Boneyard with the Torrential Gear Hulk. All right, here's my opening. Metalwork Colossus found. That was it? Ay, ay, ay. That was terrible. One, just one Metalwork Colossus. And then negate Metalwork Island. All right, well, we can kill. We still have some other draws. Champion Wits is nice. It can mill itself. Yeah, that's fine. All right, this should work. We need it to find, and we do have the combo piece. We do have combo piece online. One card though, so I need to find 2 cards off this. That is just gross. So, still going to try to go for it. I don't think there's any more lands left in our deck. Walking Ballista, Metalwork Colossus. Still gonna go for it. I think the entire rest of our deck is creatures. Yep, can't even do anything here. Let's see. If I pump up... No, it doesn't even matter. I can kill the Walking Ballista. Yeah, doesn't matter. I think we lost this one. That was pretty unlucky, though. How many cards did we end up milling there? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So statistics speaking, with half our deck being creatures, we should have hit enough. Oh, our opponent did actually leave mana up for the Champion of Wits. So I messed up there anyway. Yeah, I'm just going to go on to the next team. There's no way I can win this. So possibly need to go back up on my creature count rather than not worry about these treasure maps and whatnot. Are Karns? Is Karn even just such a liability that no? I'm gonna keep it. Because we did cut quite a few, like 8 creatures, 9, 10, and brought in only 2. So that does leave us way down. But I do like this on the draw for like both the search or the treasure map. I mean, terrible hand, but it's got the Wrath's Contempt. It's got a chart, of course, to put the Metalwork Colossus in the bin. Too many lands. We have 17 lands left. Let's just not find lands this game. There's a good one. I said let's not find lands. Ugh. least we have a one in the graveyard now. Unfortunately, this is like syncopate realm. So if this gets syncopated, it gets syncopated. It does not. We get a gate. Go ahead and attack in. See if this one gets syncopated. This should get countered. I don't think my opponent can afford not to counter it. But this is end up being a pretty good. Disallow's fine. Yeah, we can get it back, so it's better than a syncopate. All right, we are in good shape. We have attackers. We can end up getting back this champion. This actually allows us. I don't know. Do we Vraska's Contempt the Karn?
Are you certain of your decision?
Can't have Vraska's Contempt instead of a T-Hulk. Ugh. So here I have to make a decision. Go after the Karn. Or get the gate to the Afterlife. We're going to go for Karn. Unfortunately, that's Scarab God. It can come down this turn. We can't deal with it. Made the wrong move. Did not find enough cards. We're going to go for it. I give up. 4 in the graveyard, huh? Yeah, I think that's game. Because now my opponent just needs to take my Champion of Wits. Should just let this go through. I don't think I can win. That's Scarab. Karn into Scarab God. I probably shouldn't have freaked out about Karn and just wait for my opponent to do Scarab God. We can still... Ooh, Hostage Taker's pretty good. But now it has plenty of mana open. And let that go through. It's actually pretty good that my opponent didn't activate it. I'm hoping to cast something else. Opt is fine. Gonna keep the mana for the Scarab God. But if my opponent lets me on tap, I get to go Champion of Wits. Or I could go for another loot. Still only have 4 in my graveyard. Yeah, this is exactly what I'm talking about when you go too much of these Search for Azcanta, Gate to the Afterlife type cards. All right, this does give me an out. I have 1 with the Search for Azcanta. I have 1, 2, 3. Womp womp. 3 creatures in my graveyard, and 1 exiled now. This does though give me an out. It does allow me to have Search for Azcanta to flip. Of course it's a land. Now I don't think I can hit enough. I really give up. Alright, so Aether Hub. I can't mill enough. Right? I cannot mill enough. because it's just 2 in my graveyard. Both Karns. 1, 2, 3 in my graveyard. This Azcanta doesn't even work either. I'm going to mill anyway just so I can hopefully hit a champion. Oh, beautiful. Unfortunately, hit the other Vraska's Contempt. But champion does allow me to have a 4/4. And we can get another mill off of the Minister. The whole thing is my opponent just needs to keep up mana now. And with that other Vraska's Contempt means that I'm pretty much screwed. And we find land. Cool. Wow. Fatal Push. Yeah, I was hoping that the Vraska's Contempt didn't get milled, because then we can start using the the Search for Azcanta. But I don't think we have any non-creatures left in the deck. We have a couple gates. We have the God Pharaoh's Gifts. But no way to even flip the damn things. So, yeah, I probably should have stuck to my guns and not thrown out so many creatures. Kept the Skittering definitely in here. And, you know, possibly not even worry about the negate route. This allows a loot. Doesn't matter, though, now about how I... Another land. Oh, joy. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 10, 15, 16, 17. So, okay, we have 4 lands left in the deck. Walking Bliss is nice. You gotta think there's a Ballista in. Or a counter in my opponent's. Because what a hostage taker is what my opponent just takes. Yeah, I don't think there's anything. I'm just gonna go 0 here. There is a Trophy Mage, which I don't think does anything if we just loot it. Can give us a draw, but the longer this goes on, the worse for us. I can't even go get anything but a Gate to the Afterlife. Still just 5. Well, we're going to see. Because Double Gate could actually do it. We found it. So we're going to go Gate. See if this gets countered. I did not mean to do that. I was looking at like the metalwork was in my hand. It's like, cool, I can just cast this for 1, and it was in the graveyard. Oh well, we didn't. I don't think we won that anyway. The scare that was going to grab the hostage taker and swing in 4. Probably, or actually take whatever we tried to take there. Ay ay ay. Because the second gate could possibly have we still have to figure out a way to fill up our graveyard. I mean, I guess we could have with the next one. Yeah, I don't think that would have been winnable. All right, we'll wait for another match. Glad that you just click on it though, and it automatically sacrifices the only artifacts you have. It doesn't ask you what sacrifice. I love the non-full control in Arena. Alrighty, so keepable hand. Kind of frustrating if we draw around Catacomb, but this is a decent hand. We just need to hit one land off of our next few draws, and surprise, surprise, we're going up to the red deck. Hey, there we go. Found the land. Now we don't need to find any more lands. Let's not draw all but 4 lands this game. No Beaumont Courier, no Soulscar Mage. Means there's higher impact cards though. Sometimes I actually like those cards coming out just because it means that, you know, it's less Chandras as a possibility. Really, this matchup is Chandras. Hazards are kind of a joke because you can just chump block them. But Chandras are definitely difficult. This looks like it's the vehicle version. Walking Ballista. So we have a Gluttonous Crane's fine. I don't need to like dig. Hopefully this just finds a gate to the Afterlife. That way I can start milling like crazy. Finds a Skittering Surveyor. All right, so we still want to mill. We have the Trophy Mage and go grab one anyway next turn. Okay. Our opponent's got some decisions to be making here. If he wants to license Disintegration, sure. This will put at least one card in our graveyard. Get rid of the impactful card like Unlicensed Disintegration, meaning that 4 is going to happen. What do we get? We get a Gate to the Afterlife, which we would have drawn, yes. That's fine. But we get to go Aether Hub here. And then Trophy Mage. Alright, you just need to respond to the Aether Hub. Opponent. Grab a Trophy Mage. I actually will attack with the Glint Sleeve. Or Gluttonous Crane. And then we have Skittering Survey that can go find us a 4th land, which is okay, or a Chart of Course. But we do want to get him down to 16 life. So if I can sneak in a damage, I'm fine with that. Chandra would be just meh right now. Walking Ballista on 2 would be meh right now. Highly doubt my opponent just wants to kill a Trophy Mage and get in for 1. I think that's pretty bad of a play. I'll take that any day, if that's the case. So we are going to go Skittering Surveyor, I think, to guarantee that land drop. Get in with the Trophy Mage. Down to a 17. If we naturally draw onto a land next turn, then we still don't even close to the Cracking Arcgate to the Afterlife. All right, another Spire of Industry. So put a counter on Walking Ballista and attack in? Is that the play? Force the hand by double blocking? Fair enough. Another unlicensed disintegration on a Trophy Mage. I guess my opponent's just got nothing better to do in hand, but that actually helps us by getting a third into the graveyard. And I think next turn we're going to go gate. Yeah, definitely next turn we're going to go gate. Huh. Because we could leave a blocker. Chart a course here, throw the Marionette Master in the bin. Still think gate's the right play. We have the duplicate gate in case this one gets killed. So what I'm thinking my opponent's going to do is going to crew the Walking Ballista, kill the Gluttonous Crane, and then attack in so I don't have a blocker. That's kind of that's like the best out my opponent has to victory. We'd still have a 1/1 Walking Ballista back to crew Heart of Cran again. I'd go down to an 8, but then go back up to a 9. Yeah, I don't think my opponent can win this game. It needs a bunch of Abrades. Like, both of these have to be Abrades. Yeah, so this is exactly the play I thought. Okay, so Walking Ballista gets a counter. We are going to... Okay, you should crew first, buddy. Definitely want to crew first. Definitely want to crew first. Well, I guess not. Yeah, it doesn't matter. We get a loot. And this means no Abrade, and this means victory. Yep, doesn't matter how my opponent does it here. We crack the gate to the Afterlife. And grab from my library a God Pharaoh's Gift. And then go to... Oh, we just still don't have a... So we do need a Champion Wits here to try to find a Metalwork Colossus. Forgot we didn't have that piece of the combo. Do not find it. I'm going to throw away another champion. Because we want to cast that next turn for sure. We'll just throw away a God Pharaoh's Gift and a Skittering Surveyor. Then go to combat. And oh, I should have thrown away the champion there. We'll go with the Marionette Master. We're going to go ahead and put 3 counters because if we attack in, we can win with the Walking Ballista here. So didn't crew to kill the Surveyor. And didn't even... Wow, that was weird. Okay. So needs another unlicensed disintegration for the Marionette Master. I can kick myself for not going that route, but I think that's fine. Really? That's a lot of unlicensed disintegrations. Watch a chain whirl come down and kill the champion and then attack him for 4. Nope. Alright, another ballista. I can't get rid of anything, so... Champion. Ay, ay, ay. Get rid of a trophy mage and a gate to the afterlife. And I think at this point I'm just going to cast a Gluttonous Crane. Hopefully this will find a Metalwork Colossus. There's a Metalwork. And go ahead and at this point... we'll get another Gluttonous. Get a Skittering Surveyor. And attack in. Opponent should be scooping it up. We are too far ahead. Against the triple unlicensed disintegration draw. P and Nalar actually give some blockers. I might not be able to close this out. I still think it's lethal. Block. Yeah, it's still lethal. Opponent hasn't realized that it's not lethal yet. Alright. Now we will throw in the Hostage Takers and the Vraska's Contempts and the Filigree Familiars. Scarab God is kind of in this matchup. I personally don't like it. This is where I take the Chart of Courses and Strategic Plannings out because we just want to fill up the graveyard. Our opponent's going to fill up the graveyard for us. And then I usually go down the combo. This is... Scarab God could come in here instead of possibly like a Gluttonous Crane. No, Gluttonous are awesome now. Instead of like a Trophy Mage or a Champion. Like, in all honesty, Champion's not the greatest now. Versus like Chain Whirler. Yeah, we'll put it in. So this matchup, you just need to clog. And the Familiars do a great job. I think Scarab's actually pretty decent. Kind of slowish hand. Well, not really. We have the 3 lands we need. Our opponent's mulling into a 6. And the Gluttonous Crane is going to be able to deal with a Beaumont Courier if it's a first turn Courier. Swamp. Alright, this is heavier on the black because a lot of these decks do not run swamps. So let's go on Island. There's a champion. That's nice. Got the double Hostage Taker. Dragon Skull Summit. Oh, Scrap Heap Scrounger. Sure. That's fine. Get a God Pharaoh's Gift, even though we don't want it. Most likely we'll block the Scrap Heap here, depending on what my opponent does. Ooh, Pia, I think I won't block it now. Taking some damage. Champion Wits. Throw away a Champion of Wits and a God Pharaoh's Gift at this point. Yeah, it's fine. Pretty decent shape with the Hostage Taker next turn, or Walking Ballista on 2, or Trophy Mage. I think I like the Walking Ballista on 2. Actually, I don't know. I actually might like just the Skittering Surveyor, just to get... No. We're going to Hostage Taker. Take away a Thopter. Alright, so Walking Ballista on 1, just to kill the champion. Is there another card? Maybe even a Braid to kill the Glint Nest. And get in there for 7 or 6. My opponent's going to allow me to do this. Huh. This is a very, very weird attack. Should have ballisted off the champion. I'm thinking a Braid is in my opponent's hand. I have time. I can actually cast this Ballista. That's actually relevant. An unlicensed discrimination or a Braid on the Hostage Taker gets back a dead Ballista. So I am in very good shape here. My opponent didn't respond to it, didn't even do a damage. Been missing a lot of little triggers. If we draw a land, Scarab God just wins the game. If we... Yeah, I think I do go Scarab God. Could be Vraska's Contempt with the heavier black. I think that's... And some of these decks, the black is in the sideboard for Vraska's Contempt. I think there's just another PNLR in my opponent's hand. This is the correct block. Yeah, fine. Sure. Now Pia dies to a Hostage Taker. Can't get back the Scrap Heap. It's fine, though. Can't cast it this turn, though. Or attack with it this turn. Well, attack's already happened. My opponent is thinking, should I Braid the Gluttonous Crane? There's a lot of, absolutely a lot of plays I can do here. I would even say Hostage Taker on the Thopter is a terrible play. Most likely, no land, it's going to be Trophy Mage. Or Skittering Surveyor. I actually think Skittering Surveyor is the better card than Trophy Mage on 1. Yeah, Skittering Surveyor. Or, excuse me, not Trophy Mage on 1. List on 1. See, I could have used my opponent's Trophy Mage if I didn't do this, but let's end it here. I don't think... Yeah, there's no way my opponent wins. Even a Glorybringer here is not going to be a win. Chain Whirler's kind of mean. But the Thopter dies. We take some damage. Opponent attacks me with the Scrap Heap. We're going to block. Because we get 2 more creatures in the graveyard. Thank you. And that puts us... Oh, we actually still do need 1 more creature in the graveyard. Lame. Well. Gate to the Afterlife doesn't do it because we have 5. Let's go Scarab God. And hope that last thing is not a Vraska's Contempt in my opponent's hand. Scarab God is blocking. No matter what. Rekindling Phoenix, sure. We can hostage taker that. Found a 6. Still don't have the mana where I want to be. I'm going to go ahead and attack with Scarab God. Bring back a champion. Doesn't attack with the Scrap Heap. We'll draw a card. Still don't have the Gate to the Afterlife mana. So... I end up just casting this, I believe. And, whoops, didn't spend the Aether Hub. Oh well. Not a big deal. Get our opponent's Rekindling Phoenix. And there's the concession. Alright, that one we win. Get our first win, 1-1 with this league. Hopefully we can go the distance. And it won't be the first league that I don't end up cashing out with the throwback God-Pharaoh's Gift combo. Keepable hand. Definitely keepable hand. Oh, the dreaded control matchup. Hey, that was the best draw possible. We have the Ministry of Inquiries, which can just mess up the day of these Approach the Second Sun decks, if they are Approach decks. Esper. Fatal Push. All right. Opponent definitely is worried about that. Gluttonous Crane. Ooh, we found something. So we're going to have a great hand once we do find the gate because we have tons of loots here. Knight of Grace. Don't care. Well, look at us go with the walking ballistas. I think I have to loot one of them. Which feels weird. We have 3 creatures in the graveyard, though. Opponent still doesn't have a black permanent. We can block with the Glintinous Crane. I want to get the Skittering Surveyor out to at least get us a land. Alternatively, we could go Strategic Planning. Alright, sure, Fatal Push that. I think you're the control deck, aren't you? I don't think I need to worry too much. This could be... Yeah, I'll take the damage. Another Crane. We'll just do Skittering Surveyor. And this one we can go and get a... Still want another blue, I think. Probably could have attacked in there. I don't know. We'll probably block with the Champion Wits here. No Teferi. Get another champion in the bin. See if my opponent wants to Fatal Push a Skittering Surveyor. Does not. Options. We go Walking Ballista. We go Champion. I think what I want to do is go Strategic Planning. To try to find a land. Which, again, statistically we should. Opponent is mulling over whether or not this is syncopatable. Hey, think about lands. This time we can go get a Swamp. And then that allows us for a champion. This will probably get countered. My opponent had thought long and hard. Oh, really? We can get rid of the... I think just Walking Ballista is fine. I actually want to draw... Gleness Crane's also okay to get rid of, but it can dig us for what we want, so I'm going to get rid of both Walking Ballistas. So we have 3 Ballistas in the graveyard. Still haven't found any one of our gates. And we get a Cast Down now. Awesome. So the way this is built, I am loving this matchup. Yeah, okay, it is just knights. Drowned Catacomb. Well, at least we're... Well, we have a God Pharaoh's Gift that we're going to be able to hardcast. Walking Ballista on 2 is fine here. Rather than going for a chart. Because now we can block and kill the Knight of Grace. Opponent is out of cards. Well, one more card. Vraska's Contempt. Look at that. No life off that, and we get to get rid of a knight. So Esper Knights, huh? Opponent should not attack here, but my opponent is... I guess really bad. As we would like to trade that and did the damage wrong. Okay, well. Opponent is all over the place. We'll get a champion back because we still haven't found Marionette Master. There's a Marionette Master. We'll throw the Marionette Master in the bin, as well as a Skittering Surveyor. And attack with our 4, because that's all we need to get in is for this 4 damage. Opponent should just scoop it up. No way my opponent's coming back here. Could try like a Fumigate next turn, still bad. And does this history doesn't give indestructible, it's +2/+1. So Song of Aurelius I'm thinking of. Gonna take the damage. Knights get plus, oh sweet, gets +2, so I can block it. Oh, the Scarab God would be very concerning. Is a random Scarab God in here? Would be concerning, but not a big deal. No blockers. We'll go down to 12. As I think we have... No, we still don't even have lethal here. As I'm going to get back a champion. Still, I did not find it. Did not find it. So we're going to get rid of a island. And I think it's Skittering Surveyor at this point. And then now we're going to go the Marionette Master. And create the servos, I believe. Yeah, it's fine. Unfortunately, Scarab God is going to be annoying for the aspect of the God Pharaoh's gift. But we're going to have another one out. We're going to have double targets. And we have a lot of just creatures. My opponent can't cast spells now. Can't do the 2 Scarab God per turn. So I'm going to have to bring in Vraska's Contempt. Oh, that feels awful. I don't want to. Might bring in Hostage Taker just because it can kill like a History Benalia token? So gonna loot some with the Scarab God, but that again, that was a weird play with the Scarab God. It must not be the most seasoned Scarab God player. Oh, never mind. Didn't play a land. I thought a land did go down this turn, so never mind. That was a good play to try to hit a land drop, because now that we can have double Scarab God hits per turn. Ay, ay, ay. Just when I thought I couldn't lose this game, apparently, still can. Now that was a bad play. Because this allows me to get a target back. Gates of the Afterlife just naturally off the top is very nice. Let's go ahead and crack it. See if we can chart a course for a Metalwork here. No, we can get a champion. And the champion most likely can find it. And there we go. I'm going to go through the motions here. And here is the combo. Boom! So many Scarab Gods running around the meta again, huh? I don't think this is a Karn game. I don't think this is a Scarab God of our opponent's game. I really think that this is a I'll bring in Search for Camp to and Vraskas and hostage takers for some amount of glint nests and skittering surveyors, possibly. I'm gonna bring in a treasure map. Oh, I don't know. Treasure map's weird because I on one hand I definitely do. This is like, well, this is the definition of a tempo deck. It is at, yeah. So Familiar is actually not terrible here either, because I'm sure there's double knights in here, and I do want to be able to block them and gain some value. That's why hostage taker's great then. I think it is those skittering surveyors, a couple skittering surveyors, a couple glint nests, and probably the strategic plannings. And at that point, Scarab God of our own could be alternate win condition, but it's probably just dead in all honesty. So I can bring back in a glint nest or a treasure map. Yeah, this works. I'm not in love with this hand, but it's decent. Now I'm really not in love with this hand, but it's a one draw land in the next 2 turns, and we get to throw away both God Pharaoh's gifts. So I'm okay with that. Ugh. Oh, there's all my lands. There was 3 lands there. Womp womp. Still wanted to loot myself. No lands, but a gate. Unfortunately, we did not hit the land drop. Two blisses and a gate to the Afterlife. Hopefully I don't get lands here. 1 land, and we wouldn't have drawn it for 3 turns. Womp womp. Missed those land drops. Hate losing games that way. I think you always keep 2 landers. Didn't even hit a chart of course either. Opponent's digging for that Scarab God, which can come out next turn. We have 1 less gate to actually draw into. Fatal Push on the Walking Ballista allows us to get rid of... Opponent must have a duplicate to Fairy in hand. Weird attack again. Oh no, that just first strikes it down. Oh my goodness. Maybe strategic planning can never go away. There we go. And we have plenty of cards, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yep, gate it is. Gate gives us a lot of bang for our buck here. Scarab God can't come out this turn. We get to block one of these critters. Another Hydra Banality, though. This is where it gets really scary. Because I'm going to be taking a lot of damage next turn. We do have a Marionette Master though in the graveyard, so that's the good news. I think we do have to go Marionette Master just to give us blockers. Do have to worry about Vraska's Contempt, but we still get the blockers. And Vraska's Contempt's weird because it's not Scarab God that's coming down. Scarab God is coming down. So, we can block, 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 block. I don't think we can go for a kill quite yet. Oh, this is so weird. I get to do a lot of damage to my opponent here. Yeah, that's definitely the right play. Because my opponent goes down to low. So what can I actually do here? I can bring back a Walking Ballista. I can try to find... So I can Vraska's Contempt and attack. I get to bring back a card here. I think I need to Vraska's Contempt. I don't know if I have the win here. I mean, I could go for it by trying to find another Marionette Master. I think we're just going to Vraska's Contempt. And unfortunately, Minister might be the best card to get here, because I can mill myself to find more cards. Attacking for both, what do I take on the backswing? I take a lot of damage. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So let's see. So 5 times 4. 4, 8, 12. I take 19 on the backswing. So this forces out a block. 5, yeah. 4, 8, 12. Plus 5 is 17. So my opponent has to block with History of Benalia. Which is like blocking it and not losing a card. $17 damage coming down the pipe. So Walking Ballista... Okay, Contempt is annoying, for sure. Get a champion. I feel like a Skittering Surveyor is just better here. Get a Hostage Taker to take out a knight. To once again force my opponent to block. We have 2 blockers, so barring double removal spell, we should be taking this one home. So we fought through 2 History of Benalias, Vraska's Contempt, Fatal Push, Champion of Wits, as well as a Scarab God. So let's see, Liliana's Death Majesty does not do it, just puts out a 2/2. Yeah, don't care about the champion. You don't even have enough blockers, so this is game. Could have a fatal push here. And then force a block here and go down to 1. That's a weird fatal push. Very weird fatal push. That's a weird... Okay, yeah, that's definitely weird. Block. Marionette Master. We still don't have what we need to... I think that we just Trophy Mage to throw the Marionette Master away. Yeah, my opponent doesn't have enough blocks. I just go with the Gluttonous Crane. All right, cool. 2-1. Two 2-0s and 1-2-1. And we are headed towards game 3. Holy Net is deciding if they want to keep their 7. And I like my cards here. Very good hand. A white deck. I like to see white decks. They do have access to some annoying cards for sure, but... depending on what our opponent puts out, most likely strategic planning to try and hit lands. Oh! Cast Out being cycled is the best feeling in the entire world because it's one of the best cards against us. Alright, it's not a white deck. It's a... annoying... blue-white deck. Gonna counter my Gluttonous Crane? Sure is. So we'll do a Skittering Surveyor. And typically this is how this match goes. We don't have a lot of cards that are worth removing. Yeah, Skittering Surveyor is still the best play here, I think, in my opinion. Goes and gets another land. At this point, we'll get a swamp. Pass the turn to our opponent. Skittering Surveyor could actually start dishing off some damage. Unfortunately, our opponent's... we don't pressure our opponent. This is my problem with Standard right now, is they've created like these hyper-aggressive red decks so good that they also had to create answers through white that are just insanely good against decks that don't pressure very, very quickly. So we're in this damned if you do, damned if you don't scenario. You can have planes. Alright, so this we can go a Walking Bliss on 2, or we can go a Champion of Wits. We'll go the Champion of Wits. And we are going to throw away a Champion of Wits and a Marionette Master. Put out a Minister. Ignore Karn. Get our opponent down to 16 is what we're trying for. Fumigate could come out here. Fumigate is kind of annoying, but it puts Exactos in that we need in the graveyard. So we do need to hit more land drops though. Karn's going to go up again and have an Ipnu Rivulet. I don't want you to have that. Torrential Gearhulk. And I would not be surprised if it is a Fumigate that's coming out here, which will give us... Alright, not a Fumigate. This will put our opponent down to that 16 that we really want. Our opponent down to. Or settle the wreckage, one of the two. Alright, we are going to go for a chart a course. Want to hit those land drops. Gonna get negated? Sure. Then what about a strategic planning? Do you have a counter for that as well? Ooh, get the land. We'll put out a Minister of Inquiries. Awesome. Still need to dig for that gate to the Afterlife. Alternately, we can start milling our opponent. We only actually have yeah, not that many. 3, 6, 9, 12. Not worth it. I don't even know if I need to fumigate myself. Just gonna get a Torrential Gearhulk. Oh, yeah, a Torrential Gearhulk it was. That's very annoying. We'll mill ourselves to try to hit some. Ah, boo. All those were terrible. Ipni Rivulet does. We'll go at Karn. Karn takes some damage. See if my friend would like to Torrential Gearhulk this. Okay. Gonna Essence Scatter, but we have a backup one. Oh, we miss it, but at least it digs us closer to where we need to be. Oh, frustrating. Do need land drops too for this champion to come back, which is pretty good. Gotta think there's a Fumigate's weird for my opponent now with the Torrential Gearhulk. Disallow. You can have an island. What do we have in our bin? We do have the Marionette Master. I still do not have enough creatures, so I think I do have to mill myself. Teferi. Yuck.
Let's slow this down. You know what? I'm not done yet.
How many Aether Hubs do you have in the graveyard? Just one? I think I am going after my opponent. Whoops. Disallow and islands, okay. Fumigate, seal away, sure. I'll let Teferi. Cylinder Wreckage is okay because it thins us out a lot. Yep. It's five cards we gotta get thinned out. And we get a Walking Ballista on 3, which I'm not sure how well that actually plays out.
No time for a break.
If I was Karn, I'd just probably, yeah, get disallow.
What was lost is now returned.
And that hurts because of the champion is the last card left. Still can't attack in with the Torrential Gearhulk because it allows for a killing of the Teferi. Ixalan's Binding, huh? I'm actually going to go after Teferi here rather than Karn. Probably a bad... Yeah, I probably should have killed Karn there. I thought Karn was at 4 when I was looking at it. He's over top of the Ixalan's Binding. Now I see it. Karn's actually at 3. Teferi at least gets down to a 3. And opponent should be attacking with Torrential Gearhulk, I imagine. Alright, so Championwits is mostly going to be countered. And just too much card draw now to deal with. This is a very, very tough matchup. Yeah, let it get disallowed. Disallow happens. At least we can dig even further with Chart a Course. And the Glutinous Crane is discarded. So, big if, we can somehow get a gate to the Afterlife and not have it be cast, yeah, there's no way, cast out slash Ixalan. Oh, Ixalan's Bind doesn't matter. Countered slash cast out slash disallowed.
You may regret that choice.
Opponent can have an island. Fumigate also I don't really care too much for. So my opponent can even go approach the second sun and untap enough things here, which is kind of ridiculous. Yeah, gotta be another counter spell left in my opponent's hand, or a Torrential Gearhulk, or a bazillion other cards. And all the mana. Well, we're gonna go for it. Yeah, there's a cast out. Oh, we don't even have 5. Still don't even have 5 creatures in the graveyard. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Glimmer. And I missed both of them too there. Ay, this deck is not handling it today. Search for Canta flips. There's probably nothing I do. Alright, I'm not gonna. It's over. We are not gonna. These blue-white decks take forever to do anything. Alright, so Vraska's Snaps are good in this particular deck. Hostage Taker not so much, but we will use a Treasure Map and Karn. Negates are okay here. And Search for Azcanta. This means that we do have to go down quite a bit in our Marionette Master slash the Metalwork Colossus. I can go down because we're going to find it eventually. And then I do think the Skittering Surveyors can stay in this particular match. The cards, Trophy Mages are fine for draw. Yeah, I think I can go get a Skittering Surveyor. I think I'm going to go down on the count of Skittering Surveyors. There's not a lot of other cards I can cut, though. I still like Strategic Planning's being cut out here because I'm bringing in cards and maybe Chart a Course as well if I'm keeping in Skittering Surveyors. So maybe Scarab God wants to come in this match. Seems like a huge liability though with Ixalan's Bindings and cast outs, but it does give me another alternate win condition besides Ixalan's Binding though is, yeah, that's rough. That card is a card that definitely can shut this down. We get one hit off of it though because it's sorcery speed, not instant speed. So I think cast out's just better at that, even though I could still cast another one theoretically after that. The thing about Ixalan's Binding too is I can still pull it out of the graveyard. So actually it's not as good as I think it is. Opponent's just gonna bring in more graveyard hate. The thing is their main board is pretty well. I think you take out cards like Seal Away if they're smart and bring in something. Yeah, Chart of Courses probably shouldn't have come out. That's a card that card advantage is key for this matchup. Well, hopefully we get some more matchups out of this. These are a lot of Scarab God decks and blue decks in these leagues. Must be the flavor at the moment. Can't keep a no-lander. It's a bad way to end. Opponent doesn't seem too excited with their hand. At all. And so we'll play the waiting game. Mulligans as well. This is a keepable hand. It's keepable, but it's bad. I'm going to ship anything back unless it's called Chart a Course or, or a land. So we'll scry that on the bottom. And unfortunately, need to hit that land. We do hit the other land. We're in okay shape. The Gluttonous Crane, hitting like even a treasure map to be fine. Hit the land. Awesome. All right, don't you miss, Glint Nest. There we go. Get a Walking Ballista. Pass the turn. We'll go Skittering Surveyor next turn. We got some damage on board. And it does have Essence Scatter on board. Still, I definitely want to use it. That is not a draw I wanted to see. Throw out the Skittering Surveyor. You don't have a Champion of Wits on top. We don't know what we have on top arena. Allows that to happen, which is awesome. Because we can go get the other blue source. And we're in okay shape. It's not horrid. We have a Walking Ballista on 2 next turn that we can definitely cast. See if it cycles a Censor, cycles a Cast Out. Cast Out. That's good news too. It means my opponent's pretty desperate for lands. Speaking of which, missed it. We have Vraska's Contempt. Go to combat. Do I give my opponent an Essence Scatter? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, that's fine. Probably will get Essence Scattered. Everyone like overvaluates Walking Ballista. In this case, Walking Ballista is pretty good. On 2. Yeah, there's the Essence Scatter. Might as well get it out of the hand. Missed again. We also miss. So, weird game. I can start card casting the Marionette Masters. I don't think there's a dead draw besides a Metalwork Colossus or a God Pharaoh's Gift. And we're down to 2 Marionette Masters. Yeah, so we have them both. So we have only 2 cards that are terrible here. Seal Away is just... opponent kept it in. Horrible move in my opinion. Can seal away an attacker of God Pharaoh's Gift, but that seems bad. So see if we draw the one of... All right, perfect. So at least it's another card we can, you know, get some value off of, hopefully. Another Essence Scatter, sure. Gonna run out of those. We get a land, and Marionette Master is gonna be a lot stronger of a card. Down to a 14. Finds the lands, Archer Vraska. Karn can come down here. I think I do Vraska's Contempt Karn. I mean, I don't like the play of Vraska's Contempting Karn. It gets value.
Until the choices we make reveal who we are.
Have a Seal Away. Have a Settle the Wreckage. Doesn't matter. So that ends up being a pretty decent card because we can Vraska's Contempt Karn. See if Teferi comes out now. Found the land off the top. So these 3 turns have found what our opponents needed. We have high drops. Again, there's not a lot of dead drops we can still draw into. Double Essence Scatter out of the way, cast out of the way. Ugh, it is Teferi. Lame.
Sorry. Let's skip to the good part.
We are going to go at Teferi so we can get this Chart of Course online. Hopefully it doesn't get negated. We find 2 lands. So we're in business, but still not that great. Teferi's just insane card advantage. In my opinion, it's too good for Standard. Too good for Modern. And we're going to be plagued with this card for years to come. Especially with how controlling Settle the Wreckage. This has... Once a Disallow is going to rotate, but Admiral's Will is still a thing. Which... 3 mana counterspell anything. I mean, Cancel's still... I believe Cancel's still in the format, but Admiral's Will is just slightly better for the raid effect. Not that the raid is going to happen that often in a deck like this. But... COA still here. Ixalan's Bindings is still here. Fumigate's kind of awkward here with the... Yeah, that's just wants to run the Teferi to victory. Hardcast God Pharaoh's Gift. It's got to get disallowed. It does get disallowed. Can Fumigate and disallow in the same turn off of 5 mana or 6 mana. Fun. Gotta love this Teferi. Yeah, I don't know if this match is winnable now. I think I do have to bring in cards like Lost Legacy. Don't know what my opponent just did there. Try to tap Field of Ruin to maybe kill the Aether Hub to thin out. Doesn't matter, though. Well, Champion. See if Champion gets taken care of. Still think getting rid of the Marionette Master is the right call. We're going to cast it. Torrential Gearhulk counter. Oh, this is so tempting. We're going to do it. Can still get disallowed. Can still get Torrential Gearhulk disallowed. Yep.
Hold that thought.
Can draw into the other Vraska's Contempt to sort of get us out of this. This Settle Wreckage is weird with Champion. I want Champion to die, but now they're going to Field of Ruin, which I'm okay with this Field of Ruin happening. I don't know what my opponent's doing with that. It needs to activate the Field of Ruin. See if T-Hulk comes down here. Arch of Vraska can start drawing cards, too. Alright, Settle Wreckage. At least that's gone out of the... We get a land. Which allows us to chart a course. Which allows us to... Champion of Wits. Throw both of the lands away. And I'm okay with just throwing out a Glint Nest here rather than a negate. I don't know if I need to worry about any card that's being negated. And we miss, though. 3 lands, though, we get out of the way. 3, 4, 5. Lots of lands now.
Hurry.
So Teferi getting close to that emblem. Five cards in our opponent's hand. Still messes up with the Field of Ruin. I don't know what. Just wasting time. Gonna keep that in hand. If there's another Settle Wreckage, it's fine. It still gets out cards. Islands I don't have to draw. I put 3 on the bottom there, though, with the miss of the... So Settle the Wreckage yet again. I think... Yeah, we'll negate it. I don't need to negate it, but I'd like the champion to have to be killed another way. Still can go Torrential Gearhulk and disallow. Keeping Settle Wreckage is kind of weird, so disallow it. Yeah, this is... Ay. It's sad that the opponent can waste the resources like this and still be so far ahead because it's a Teferi.
Hold that thought.
Basically, what we need to draw into is like a Vraska's Contempt. Didn't find like treasure maps or, yeah, search for Azcantas. I don't think it really matters. I think my opponent's got a Torrential Gearhulk in hand. Commit. Okay. Means Teferi is ulting. and destroying all my permanents.
You are removed from time itself.
So I guess I should have played this island. Archvarasa can even start destroying permanents at instant speed. Memory is kind of weird to play right now. But I only have gates already. No, just like that. We'll do Karn.
I advise that you yield.
Which Karn is going to die, so I'm going to get the worst of 2 cards here.
Excellent choice.
Unfortunately, the gate now gets, yeah, even more hard to take care of. I think we just play everything here just because my opponent is going to want a memory. Glimmer can take care of both of them with the Teferi ult. I think that was a mistake to say to exile target permanent. Should have said non-land. That way it doesn't completely lock us out. Overvaluing these swamps, though, that's nice. Other than the draw is just going to kill Karn, so... Alright, so Torrential Gearhulk. This guy's just he's just wasting time. Alrighty, well, that's our league. End up doing okay versus the non-control decks, of course. That was worried about. I don't have the sideboard really tuned for control. Fortunately for us, control, I don't know, did very well at like a lot of the nationals, so maybe they're headed towards that. They've maybe figured out a way to beat the red decks. However, I think you can tune this in the sideboard a little bit more. Let's go ahead and get our prizes here. So get back the money. Just even going 2 and 2 is where you break even with this. And get some garbage cards here. But it was fun nonetheless. Got stalled out at 2-2. So again, you can put in like more treasure maps. It sometimes gives a better matchup. You can go heavier on the black for duress. There are ways around it. But then you start having a bad matchup versus the entirety of the field. So, hope you enjoyed this Rogue's Alley. It was a good throwback, going back to where it all left off with the same deck. How we are, like half a year later, and the deck is still very playable. And we're going to try to do this as a weekly series. Again, if you're interested in seeing these, you can definitely come fund it over at patreon.com/roguedeckbuilder. We are independent now without sponsors. So, that is the way going forward that these videos will be able to come out on a consistent basis. Appreciate all the support. Again, if you do join the Patreon, there's great tiers. The $20 tier, the $25 tier, you'll absolutely will get your money back if you utilize it. At those tiers, we allow you to purchase products at distributor pricing. So basically, you can buy 1 booster box and make your money back because you get a booster box at the $78 mark. I mean, it's right there. Or you buy 2 booster boxes. Right there, you start to get back your money. If you buy more than a couple booster box a month, definitely come check it out. Or if you even like, it's open to anything: sleeves, deck boxes, playmats that distributors have, D&D, board games, all of those things. All you need to do is pay the distributor cost and pay shipping, or pay any sort of fees if you don't send it PayPal. There will be like a 2.9% fee attached to that, and you get anything we can get from the distributors. So you can be your own local game store at that point, just with the added cost of a little bit of shipping and the $20 a month. So hope you enjoyed this video. This has been Kevin with RogueDeckBuilder.com. Thanks for watching.